नमस्कार मंडळी. बृहन महाराष्ट्र मंडळाच्या लक्षवेधी या नव्या उपक्रमात मी श्वेता चक्रदेव तुमचं हार्दिक स्वागत करते. नव्या वाटा शोधणाऱ्या, नव्या रस्त्यावर चालू पाहणाऱ्या उत्तर अमेरिकेतल्या मराठी माणसांची ओळख करून घेणं, त्यांच्याशी गप्पा मारणं हा या उपक्रमाचा उद्देश आहे. आपण या उपक्रमाची जुलै महिन्यात सुरुवात करतोय. 4 जुलै रोजी अमेरिकेचा स्वातंत्र्य दिन देखील आहे. हे निमित्त साधून आपण आपल्या पहिल्या सत्रामध्ये गप्पा मारणार आहोत, ओळख करून घेणार आहोत रेवा काळभोरीची. रेवा सध्या US एअरफोर्स अकॅडमीमध्ये प्रशिक्षण घेत आहे आणि ती काही वर्षात पायलट म्हणून US एअरफोर्समध्ये रुजू देखील होणार आहे. तर मंडळी, तुम्हालाही अशी काही माणसं माहिती असतील जी काही नवं करू बघतायत, काही नव्या रस्त्यावर चालू बघतायत, तर आम्हाला नक्की कळवा. आम्हाला त्यांच्याशीही गप्पा मारायला आवडेल. पण आत्ता आपण रेवाशी गप्पा मारूया. चला तर मग. नमस्कार रेवा, कशी आहेस तू?
मी चांगली आहे. हाऊ आर यू?
आय एम डुईंग गुड टू, थँक्यू. पाहणाऱ्यांना मला सांगावं असं वाटतं की रेवा काल रात्री 10 नंतर घरी परत आली आणि आत्ता आम्ही सकाळी 7 वाजता हा इंटरव्ह्यू रेकॉर्ड करतोय. सो हॅट्स ऑफ टू युअर कमिटमेंट अँड हॅट्स ऑफ टू युअर डेडिकेशन रेवा. रेवा, तुझ्याबद्दल आम्हाला सांग ना थोडंसं. तुझ्या लहानपणाबद्दल सांग, तुझ्या चाइल्डहुडबद्दल आम्हाला सांग ना थोडंसं.
I grew up in like a small town here. We're in Mars, Pennsylvania. So I was just a really quiet girl, but honestly, growing up with a Maharashtra Mandal, just it was really nice to have like a good group of people around you to just shape you and like build you up. Obviously, I had my parents, I had my brother and my dogs, but the Maharashtra Mandal really provided like a second family. I had like all these maushis, all these kakas just around me, 24/7, just willing to help me around. And I couldn't really figure out what I really wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to make a difference. So um, even at 10 years old, I wanted to be like an artist or, an engineer or something, or I don't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to help people and like put myself out there. So that's really when Air Force started shaping into a possible dream. So.
पण मग एअरफोर्स हे कधी मनात आलं, किंवा एअरफोर्समध्ये जायचंय, मला पायलट व्हायचंय, हे हे कधी डोक्यात आलं?
So in high school, I did a program. It's called JROTC, stands for Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. It's a leadership program that some high schools offer, and that's really where I got exposed to like the Air Force in general. And just growing up, my mom always told me you can do whatever you want to do, but just get a good like education first. Go to a good college. So I did some research, and the Air Force Academy just seemed like the perfect fit. It provided a good education. It trained cadets in military academics and athletics, and they became second lieutenants after their graduation with 100% job security.
हम्म.
So I just knew that that was like the ultimate goal. Like I really wanted to go there. It just seemed all perfect. Like that's how I could actually make that difference and that impact that I wanted to when I was just a little girl. So that's really how I got exposed to it, was just through JRTC.
सो JROTC हे कुठल्या ग्रेडमध्ये सुरू होतं? वेन डिड यू जॉईन?
This starts from ninth grade.
9th ग्रेड म्हणजे
Yeah.
हायस्कूल सुरू झाल्या झाल्या.
Yes.
राईट, म्हणजे 8th मध्ये तुम्हाला काही करायला लागत नाही त्यासाठी, राईट? लाईक
No.
वेन, ओके
No.
ओके ओके ओके. नाईस. आणि JROTC मध्ये तुम्हाला बाकी पण आर्म फोर्सेसच्या विंगला एक्सपोजर मिळतं का, अपार्ट फ्रॉम एअरफोर्स?
So each JRTC is focused on one branch. So mine was focused on Air Force in specific, but we still learn about, other branches.
आय सी.
Um, you don't have to do Air Force if you just do Air Force JRTC. You can always, branch out and do other ones. It's not like there's no service requirement really after if you do it in high school. It's just a strictly leadership program, no
राईट
military requirement. So
राईट राईट.
yeah.
दॅट्स अमेझिंग. आता मला तुला एक मी प्रश्न विचारते. सो तुझ्या डोक्यामध्ये असं होतं की येस, मला एअरफोर्स अकॅडमीमध्ये जायचंय. आय नो युअर पेरेंट्स वेर ऑल्सो सपोर्टिव्ह की तुला जे करायचंय ते कर. बट वेन यू ऍक्च्युली टोल्ड देम दॅट मी आता ह्याच्यासाठी प्रयत्न करणार आहे, आय एम गोइंग टू ट्राय फॉर दिस, व्हॉट वॉज द रिॲक्शन, व्हॉट वॉज दॅट स्टेटस?
I actually specifically remember this. We were in the hall, like it was like after dinner or whatever. And, I was telling them I wanted to do charity to see in high school. And they're like, do you want to go in the military? I'm like, yeah, a little bit. And they're, my mom was really, really happy because, my grandfather or her dad was in the Indian Army. So she had that military background. So she was like, I can never escape this military life. But I mean, I'm really proud, she was ready. Um, I mean, obviously they were, scared because it is a military. There is
Mhm.
like a risk with being involved with, that kind of field.
Mhm.
But they were overall just really supportive. Same with my brother. So.
Oh wow, that's really amazing. मग मग आम्हाला सांग ना की how can you tell us about the time की आता इथे तुझं फिक्स झालंय की यू वॉन्ट टू ट्राय फॉर अकॅडमी आणि मग हाऊ वॉज युअर प्रोसेस तू काय काय स्पेसिफिकली काय काय प्रयत्न केलेस.
So, in high school, they try and just look for a well-rounded applicant. So, someone who's really involved with like their athletics, their school clubs, is good in obviously, studies,
हम्म.
because that's is a huge part of just being an officer, is just having like the knowledge and the foundation to like
हम्म.
lead. So the application itself, there's like five parts basically. There's the regular academy application. So when you go on the website, there's essays that you have to fill out. There's like your regular information about yourself, your background, and all that. And then there's a medical examination. It's called DODMERB. It stands for Department of Defense Medical Examination Review Board. So it's a huge acronym you learn in the military. There's a lot of acronyms that stand for a lot of things, but this is one of them. So it's a website you go on where you have to fill out all your medical history and they evaluate you, just a baseline evaluation, and then you have to get a congressional nomination. So that is a nomination from either a congressman or a senator. Now, if there are some other requirements, if you were, um, I believe it's, child of a person that served, or
हम्म.
there's like special requirements, so you can get a vice presidential or like presidential nomination or from different nominating sources. But normally for the regular applicant, which is me, you can either get from a congressman or senator or the vice presidential. So you need to apply for an interview through their website, and then you have to get selected for that interview. They'll
हम्म.
send you a letter through the mail. They tell you like your time, where you're going to meet, and like what to wear. So in that interview, I got asked, why you? Tell me about the failure you've had. If you could have an impact on everyone, how would you start? Or
हम्म.
like even to, would you be willing to give your life for your country? And like,
Oh,
which it's like really, really broadening questions. Like they
yeah,
will,
yeah,
they'll because obviously, you're going to a service academy and they want to see, are you willing to go up and like hold the standards, so
yeah.
and push the standards. So um but I believe it was four different interviews, one for each senator, and then I think I had a couple for the congressionals as well, a congressman. um and then the fourth part is the CFA. It's the candidate fitness assessment. So
हम्म.
this is to test your physical ability. So there's 6 events. There's 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups,
हम्म.
pull-ups, 1 mile run, basketball throw, and the shuttle run.
अच्छा.
Yeah. And this has to be administered by either your gym teacher. I had my JROTC instructor administer it for me. So there's certain people that are authorized um, to
हम्म.
take that test for you. And then the last part is your recommendation letters. So it probably changes every year, but I know I had a couple from my math teacher, English teacher, so just to gauge
हम्म.
how you are as a student in class.
हम्म.
So those are my recommendation letters. So yeah, those are the 5 parts of just the application process to
सो
get in.
ही ऍप्लिकेशन प्रोसेस लॉंगर आहे का युज्युअल कॉलेज ऍडमिशन्सच्या प्रोसेसपेक्षा.
Much longer, yeah. I started applying, so 23 to 24 was my senior year.
हम्म.
Most people start applying to colleges in like August, early
हम्म.
August or so. Um, I started applying, my whole process started in like March or so,
ओके.
March of my junior year, and then I submitted my whole package um, before the end of August.
आय
So
सी. ओ या
yeah,
इट्स अ फ्यू मंथ्स लॉंगर
a
दॅन
few months
युज्युअल
longer,
आणि आधीची तयारी सगळी ऑब्व्हियसली. या
yeah.
लेट मी टेक यू बॅक वन स्टेप फॉर द कॉंग्रेशनल इंटरव्ह्यू. हे फार इंटरेस्टिंग आहे. सो आय वॉन्ट टू नो मोर अबाउट इट. सो मग तू काय सांगितलंस तुला जेव्हा त्यांनी असे प्रश्न विचारले. बिकॉज For a 12th grader, it's like
Mhm.
putting you on a spot, right? Like, what are you thinking? So, सांग ना आम्हाला त्याच्याबद्दल.
Um, I know for the question where if you could have an impact on everyone in the world, how would you start? Because like that was one question that I wasn't really prepared for. I was ready for
Hmm.
like, tell me about a failure because like normally applicants they're all like talking about themselves and are ready to give a failure. So I was ready about that, why you and all that. But um I said that a lot of people in America, they're normally very fortunate to just be in this country in the first place because a lot of people talk about, the American dream and like my parents even like their moving story from India to here. Like I just found it like so cool because they came here and they made like a whole life for themselves, a life for their kids. But for a 12th grader to have an impact on everyone in the world, I think that we have to start being a lot more selfless and realize that we we are privileged and we have almost spoiled. We have like so much given to us already, that we have to realize that there are other people that are not as fortunate as us.
Hmm.
So in order to have an impact on everyone in the world, honestly just starting at one person at a time and sending people, on mission trips or sending people, to a different country, expose them to, what other people are going through, and honestly create like provide humanitarian efforts,
Hmm.
see how other people are living, help them out, and honestly just bring the human back out in them because some people are
Oh.
just so driven inside, their work and their own life that they forget about how other people are. So honestly, yeah, I think that was my answer if I remember correctly. So
वाव! तुला असं वाटलं पण की ह्या सगळ्यामध्ये यू यू फाउंड समथिंग न्यू इन युअरसेल्फ ड्युरिंग दिस एंटायर ॲप्लिकेशन प्रोसेस, इंटरव्ह्यू प्रोसेस? म्हणजे आय वॉन्ट टू गो इन ए अकॅडमी इज वन पार्ट, बट
mhm.
देन in that process, in that journey, finding yourself, finding new things about yourself. Did it happen to you?
It did, yeah. I didn't realize I could write like 5 different essays and apply to 12 different colleges at the same time. Like I was just surprised, but um
It
I
worked.
mean, yeah, it worked out in the end. Like I definitely realized like I had to really manage my time, like
Mm,
prioritize the things that
mm.
mattered most. So
Yeah.
I like picked that up pretty quickly,
That's
which
amazing.
yeah.
Well, रेवा, आय वॉन्ट टू से दॅट आम्हाला सगळ्यांना तुझा इतका अभिमान आहे. काही जण तुला हे सांगतील, काही जण हे सांगणार नाहीत, कारण त्यांचे शाय असतील मे बी. बट वी ऑल आर एक्स्ट्रीमली प्राऊड ऑफ यू. आमच्या गावातली आणि आमच्या घरातली एक मुलगी एअरफोर्स अकॅडमीमध्ये गेली आहे आणि माझ्या माहितीतली तू पहिलीच मराठी मुलगी माहिती आहे मला. सो आय एम गोइंग टू टेक यू ॲज द फर्स्ट वन. तर थँक यू सो मच. We are really proud of you. We are not at the end, but I just wanted to mention this. It came from my heart. I
um,
remember one event. आपण आय थिंक बीवरमध्ये होतो, बीवर काउंटीत होतो आणि
mhm.
आय वॉज देअर फॉर सम अदर वर्क, अदर नॉन प्रॉफिट वर्क, आणि तू तिथे होतीस आणि फॉर मार्शल आर्ट्स. आणि तू सगळ्यात छोटी मुलगी होतीस त्या सगळ्या मुलांमध्ये, बट यू वेर देअर लीडर आणि तुला भरपूर मेडल्स मिळत होती, वन आफ्टर अदर. वी कुडंट स्टॉप क्लॅपिंग, इतकी तुला बक्षिसं मिळत होती तिथे. अँड वी वर सो प्राऊड. आणि आय जस्ट थॉट की इतकी छोटीशी मुलगी, म्हणजे आय नो मनाली मावशी ऑलवेज सेज बडा पॅकेट, स्मॉल छोटा पॅकेट बडा धमाका. तर इट्स 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 लिटरली लाईक दॅट. इट वॉज अ फॅन्टॅस्टिक moment to just watch you there, doing your martial arts. It was such a great day.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank
No,
you.
no,
Thank you
thanks.
for being there too.
Oh, no, of course. I want to ask you something. So तू वर्षभर काम केलंस, तू JROTC केलंस, ऍप्लिकेशन केलंस, आणि आता तुला कॉल आला, म्हणजे यू गॉट द इन्व्हाइट, म्हणजे आधी आधी इंटरव्ह्यू सगळं सगळं झालं, तुला
Mhm.
ऍडमिशन मिळाली. नाव यू
Mhm.
आर कन्फर्म. टेल मी अबाउट दॅट मोमेंट, टेल मी अबाउट दॅट डे.
So, I I was sitting in English class and like actually the day before, my mom, my dad, and me, we went out just to eat. My brother was in college, but we just went out to eat, and we were just talking about the academy application because that's all we can talk about. And that's just that fall semester. Will she get into college? Will she get into USAFA? Will she make it? Um, And there's this thing called an LOA. It's a letter of acceptance, I believe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So basically, it's like early um, early acceptance.
अच्छा.
So if they really, really like you, they'll send you a letter early, so you're more likely to accept their selection. So so we were talking about it, how like only a couple applicants get it, and it's mostly, recruited athletes because they want them for their team. So it's mostly recruited athletes. It's not, just like regular people that didn't actually apply for a D1
Mm-hmm.
sport. We were just talking about it. And the next day, I was walking to class. I sit down and like all this time, like my phone was going off, like, five, six, seven messages. I'm like, who's texting me right now? So I open my phone, I see family, like 9 or 10 text messages. Okay, like it's probably just like my dad, just spamming, I don't know, whatever. Or, so so I had some time, before class started. So I opened it and I just see like my mom in all caps, like screaming, and then a screenshot of like the acceptance letter of
Oh
an
my
LOA,
goodness.
and I'm like,
Wow.
no way. So I rush out of the classroom. I'm like, yeah, can I go to the restroom? So I call my mom. That's the first thing I did. I called my mom. Um, and then I think she picked me up early from school or something. Or no, she didn't pick me up. I went to I had practice right after school for
Mm-hmm.
JROTC. So I went there and I told my instructor, and he was so confused because he never heard someone got accepted this
Wow.
early. So he was like, how did you get, accepted this early? Like you were putting like the cart before the horse, or like, yeah, he said something like that. I'm like, what? Yeah, but and then I come out to practice and I drove there in my car, and my parents, I don't know how they got in the car in the first place. They were in the car, they surprised me with flowers and like confetti and everything. Yeah, it was really sweet. Yeah, and then
That is so
yeah,
cool.
we
That is
celebrated
so
that night. So
so what month was this? हे
this
कधीचं झालं?
was
Oh
November,
wow.
yeah.
So before holidays in your senior year.
Yes, that wasn't like it wasn't like an a full,
It's
offer.
like
It was
an
just an acceptance.
की
Yeah.
मोस्टली होणार आहे तुझं म्हणजे
Yeah.
असं.
Because I still had to have my interviews done. And then
अच्छा.
after I got the interviews done, once I got the nomination, then I was fully accepted. I got like my full, binder and like um letter,
Right,
basically.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, that's the rest is the history. Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. मला ना असं कायम वाटतं की that kind of takes me to the next question की being you wanted to be part of a thing and then you become a part of that thing, and when you actually become part of that thing then you realize, dude, this comes with lot many other things that probably I didn't think about. I'll give you my personal example. So I don't know if you know, I'm a volunteer firefighter. So सुरुवातीला मला असं वाटायचं फोटो बघून आणि पिक्चर्स बघून, अरे हे कसले कूल आहेत आणि आता मी जातेच आणि आता मी एकदम अशी कूल डूड बनते. But when you actually sign up for it, when the training start, then you realize, oh man, this is a lot than what you see in the pictures. So Ata, let's take you there. So how was your first day at the academy? Like walk us through it. कारण आम्ही कोणी हे कधी ऐकलेलं नाहीये. So please tell us as much as you can.
So, um, unlike other colleges,
Mm-hmm.
um, with the Air Force Academy, because it's a service academy where you become a second lieutenant, right? In the summer prior to the start of your freshman year, you have basic training for 6 weeks. So that's why I left like really early. My grad party was like
Hmm.
June 16th, and then 10 days later, June 26th was my first day. So that first day is called I Day, or in processing day. So my parents, we flew to Colorado. Um, they dropped me off. It was a car line. They couldn't even like get out and, say goodbye. It was just a car line.
Oh.
It was a car line. They dropped me off. I had like this 15, 20 pound bag. Like I could only pack one bag with like, all my essentials, like undergarments or like toothbrush, toothpaste, or like whatever, sunscreen. Like that's all I could have. And then all of these forms that I have to fill out prior to being there. So I went there, it was just a bunch of medical testing. Like, so they drew my blood, they gave me certain,
Mm-hmm.
medications or whatever. And then they gave me my glasses. And then it was a lot of different forms we had to sign. And then after that, we got put on a bus. We got bused to the main campus, and there was a cadre. A cadre is a drill sergeant. If you're familiar with that, basically, they're people, they're cadets that are in charge of basic training. So
Hmm.
they're the people that yell at you, in short. So, he was just, walking through the bus, giving us like the motivational talk. And at the end of it, he's like, if you're not ready to uphold the standards of the United States Air Force Academy, stay on this bus. If you
Oh.
think you are, get off my bus. And like he would yell that last part. So we all got off. There was these footprints right in front of the academy we had to stand on. And we were asked for the 7 basic responses, which are basically responses were the only things they were allowed to say during basic training to the cadre, which are yes, sir, no excuse, sir. Sir, may I ask a question? Sir, may I make a statement? Sir, I do not understand, and sir, I do not know. So those are the like 7 basic responses that you're allowed to say. Um, yeah. So as a basic cadet. So after that, we were running up like a ramp. We were basically running around like the whole campus, getting issued stuff. Climb up these stairs, climb down these stairs, put your bag down, pick it back up, like
My
turn left, turn right.
God.
It was just like it was hectic. It was hectic the whole day, and it was like really hot. Um, and the elevation was
Hmm.
terrible because Pittsburgh we're at like what around 1,000. Colorado Springs is 7,258
Hmm.
um feet. So yeah, that jump in elevation, just going up one flight of stairs, like I still get winded. Everyone still gets winded
Oh,
from just
no?
one flight of stairs. And we're climbing up like a couple. So yeah, that first day was pretty hectic. That first week pretty much was really hectic too. Because they took our phones away for 6 weeks too, so I couldn't, call my
Oh,
parents. Yeah, so they wrote me letters. That's how we kept in. Yeah,
old
I still
school.
have those letters. Yeah,
Aw.
yeah. I actually had to learn how to actually write a letter and how to address it properly. So yeah.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Wow. तू कसं केलंस रे वा अगं हे केवढं इट्स इवन ओव्हरवेल्मिंग टू लिसन टू मला गुजबम्स आले ऐकताना. तू कसं केलंस?
I mean, honestly, like you just have to put your head down and just go through it. Like
हम्म.
it's not something that's like, you know, basic training for dummies, book or whatever. But
हम्म. हम्म.
it's just something you need to just, go through. Honestly, like it's hard for everyone. A lot of people say, oh, like it wasn't that hard, it wasn't this, wasn't that.
हम्म.
But like being away from your family at
Yeah.
18 for the first time for 6 weeks for no phone
Yeah.
while you're getting yelled at and like all this pressure on you, like it builds up. So it
Mm-hmm.
was it was definitely hard, but through basic training, like I found one of my best friends, like a couple of my best friends because of it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say trauma bonding, but I would say trauma bonding. So like um, yeah, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you don't have people like that you're able to form that close of a bond with because they went through literally everything with you together. So
Correct. Correct.
um yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
So how is your usual day like? Is it
Usual
like
day.
normal college day or is not?
Uh it's not as hectic as basic training.
Okay.
But first semester we had around a 5:45 a.m. wake up, where we had to get our uniform ready, we had to clean our room. It's this inspection order called SAMI, so Saturday Anti-Meridian inspection is like the inspection like order it had to be in.
Okay.
So our bed had to be made specific way, like 6-inch collar or like 18 inches from the headboard, like things like that.
Yeah.
Or like to be very like iron, like hospital corners and all that. Like I remember calling my Aditi, Rucha Sanika right after basic. And I was calling them as I was making my bed. So I had a ruler and an iron in my hand. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm making my bed." I'm like, they're like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "I know." But yeah, so we have to, make our bed, uniform has to look good. And then we meet in the main hallway at like 6:25 in the morning. And from 6:25 to 7 a.m. we have knowledge training, room
Mhm.
inspection, and uniform inspection. So the knowledge training is basically there's this book called The Contrails. It's this book that has pretty much everything about military knowledge and like the Air Force. There's some quotes in there that you have to memorize, like, word for word, different planes you have to memorize. Um, so we did that till 7 a.m. and then 7 to 8 was breakfast. And then 8 to 12 were classes. So
Mm.
classes are held in Fairchild Hall. It's this huge building that has pretty much all the classes. And then 12 to 12:25 is noon meal formation. So everyone in the academy, there are 4,000 cadets. We all form up in our squadrons. So there's 40 squadrons
Mm.
that each hold around 100 cadets. So each squadron, they line up by squadron, and we all march to lunch together.
Acha.
So um, yeah, that happens until 12:25, and then from then to 1 p.m. we have lunch, and then 1 p.m. to 4 we have classes again, and then 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. it's basically like personal time. So
Mhm.
you can go to the gym, go on a run. A lot of people are involved in competitive clubs. So they go to their club practices, and then people that are recruited athletes, we call them ICs or intercollegiate athletes. So they go to their specific, sport
Mm.
practices.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and then 8 p.m. so to 11 p.m. is academic call to quarters. So that's basically you have to be, in squad. You have to be doing your homework. Is like basically what it is, just homework time.
Yeah.
So no one's allowed to bother you. Like no military training is allowed past 8 p.m.
Oh.
So that's good because you can actually focus on academics
Yeah.
during the time.
Yeah. It's a
Um,
it's a big day. It's a long day.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
long day. A lot of people like lights out is at 11, but
Huh.
I try to sleep by like 9:30 or 10,
Yeah.
just because like if I don't get 8 hours of sleep,
You're right.
I can't
Hmm.
function.
I know, I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
you need
so
rest. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
wow. That is so cool. किती रेवा तू वेगळा अनुभव घेतेस इतक्या लहान वयामध्ये म्हणजे आय स्पीक टू लॉट ऑफ कॉलेज किड्स आणि त्यांचे थोडेफार मला त्यांच्याकडनं आणि आय आय यूज टू बी अ स्टुडंट इन दिस कंट्री राईट आय केम हिअर ॲज अ स्टुडंट सो इट्स व्हेरी डिफरंट दॅन वॉट यू आर सेईंग आणि वी आर रिअली प्राऊड ऑफ यू ओके सो रेवा तू मस्त सांगितलंस आम्हाला तुझा दिवस कसा असतो ते आणि इट्स इट्स अ हेक्टिक डे आय डोंट नो हाऊ यू डू इट डे इन डे आउट हॅट्स ऑफ टू यू फॉर दॅट आणि आय एम शुअर की इतर कॉलेजमध्ये मुलं मजा करतात तशी तुम्हीही ही थोडीफार करत असालच आय एम व्हेरी व्हेरी शुअर टेल अस अबाउट एनी इंटरेस्टिंग एक्सपिरियन्सेस किंवा तू कुठल्या माणसांना भेटलीस दे काइंड ऑफ चेंज युअर पर्स्पेक्टिव्ह ॲडेड व्हॅल्यू आय डोंट नो एनिथिंग दॅट यू वुड लाईक टू शेअर
So during basic, um, we had religious services every Friday and Sunday, and they actually didn't have a Hindu service. We're starting that this year, but they didn't have a Hindu service during basic training. So I just went to a random one that they called out, and it happened to be the LDS service or Latter-day Saints, the Mormon service. So I went to their service. I don't know what to expect because I didn't really know much about their faith, but I actually happened to meet one of my best friends there. So it was just totally, by fate, by chance, like that I met her.
So, how your perspective about life changed?
I've I've learned to appreciate like the little things.
Mm.
Um, in I feel like that really, really started during basic because we, obviously weren't allowed to call our parents. We
Mm.
weren't allowed to use a restroom all the time. We weren't allowed to drink water.
Oh,
We'd ask permission to drink water,
right.
ask permission to, to go to the restroom. Um, obviously they weren't serving dal bhat with toop every day. Like it was, it was like American food, which is bread, cheese, meat, like,
Mm,
so,
mm,
um, yeah, just being able to appreciate, being able to sit down instead of stand up all the time, being able to like
mhm.
just like relax, just relax your shoulders and like look around and like talk whenever you want to do. So just yeah, I
Wow.
I just learned to appreciate, little things and realize that not everyone is really fortunate to have,
Yeah.
a big house, a big car, like dogs or like good
Mhm.
people around you, all the time. That there's a lot of people that are,
Yeah.
out there on the front lines, out there in the field that are surviving off of like 2 or 3 MREs for a couple of weeks, So yeah, I've just learned to appreciate
Yeah.
a lot more.
Yeah. Why, how do I put this question? Um, तू आतापर्यंत अकॅडमीमध्ये काय काय शिकली आहेस विच इज गोइंग टू हेल्प यू फॉर रेस्ट ऑफ युअर लाईफ एनी थिंग्स दॅट यू हॅव पिक्ड ऑन आता हे तू करतेसच आय डोंट नो लाईक टाइम मॅनेजमेंट टेल अस एनिथिंग यू नो
Um, Honestly, like, yeah, time management is like a very, very huge one because they throw so much at us like throughout the day. You've heard my schedule, but
या
prioritizing the important things and yeah, taking that throughout, the rest of my life is going to be very, very huge because while my other jobs might not be as hectic, I still want to prioritize, my family time, my friend time as well, and like me time.
या
So time management is very huge. Organization is also a big thing, having a, clean room and like waking up and just like knowing where everything is versus waking up and trying to search for where your uniform top is, like where your hat is, or like something. It freaks you out for a second because you're
या
like, I'm gonna be late, I'm gonna get yelled at. But like when you're organized and clean, you know exactly where everything is.
या
um yeah, and another thing like Yusafa has just done is me being able to meet people and connect with them like on the dot. um just going through the application process itself, I've learned to, my mom calls it sweet talk, but I've learned to interact with people on like and just form a connection with them pretty easily from like the moment I meet them. So yeah, I've learned to hold a conversation, look them in the eye, stand up straight, which is like it means a lot to, not just your, yourself and your confidence, but also just it's just basic respect for other people.
वेरी ट्रू
So, yeah, that's also really helped me because I mean,
वाव
you probably remember I wasn't very talkative as like a little kid. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see just in like last one or 2 years how the transformation, the confidence. What a fantastic young lady in front of me. Like amazing, amazing, Reva.
Thank you.
What how your 5 years next 5 years look like? काय काय पुढची 5 वर्ष 10 वर्ष काय काय असणार आहे सांग.
So, the next few years, we're gonna have, different classes. Like we're gonna
हम्म.
have our basic core classes because we all graduate with a Bachelor of Science,
Okay.
with the specific degree. So we can do, Bachelor of Science in engineering or Bachelor of Science. I'm doing Bachelor of Science in cyber science right now.
Okay.
So you have your, your basic core classes, and then you have your majors classes. You also have like physical education classes. So like we take boxing, we take water survival, we take swim classes, combatives, physical education, so things like that. Um, and then once all those classes are done, once all the requirements for graduating are done, you'll graduate as a second lieutenant. You'll commission in the Air Force as a second lieutenant,
Mhm.
and you'll get your job. The minimum service requirement is 5 years active duty, and then 3 years in the reserve. So, and they also started commissioning into the Space Force as well. So
Mm,
it's not just the Air Force Academy. It's like it's also Space Force
that's
Academy because they
cool.
also commissioned to the Space Force. So yeah, that's always been an option for me. And I'm looking, I'm looking into Space Force intelligence. But I'm mostly leaning towards either pilot or air battle management. So yeah, those are my, I guess, top three
Oh
right now.
वाव.
So
मला ऐकायलाच इतकं छान वाटतंय. वेल, आय आय मीन म्हणतात ना मराठीत, तुझ्या मनातलं दान पडू दे, तुला जे हवं असेल ते मिळू देत. बेस्ट विशेस टू यू. मला अजून विचारायचं आहे की हा इंटरव्ह्यू ऐकणारे जे आई बाबा असतील, त्यांनी त्यांच्या ते मुलांना त्यांचे इंटरव्ह्यू दाखवतील, हा जे जे हू माइट बी इन हायस्कूल, हू माइट बी थिंकिंग अबाउट दिस, तर व्हॉट विल यू से टू दोज youth who is trying to get into armed forces and their parents also, त्यांच्या फॅमिलीज पण, दोघांनाही काय सांगशील तू?
trust in your kids, like because they know what they want, and just trust in your kids because they know what they want, and
Yeah.
you're going to have to help them get it. And
So let me ask you a couple of rapid fire questions. First of all, let me ask you, तू मराठी मूवी वगैरे बघतेस का? मराठी गाणी ऐकतेस का? की ऐकली आहेत का? Do you have anything?
mostly like Hindi.
Hindi?
I've listened to more
What's your
Hindi.
favorite Hindi movie?
Hindi movie 83, the cricket
Okay,
one.
you like it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, all right. Let me ask you 3 or 4 rapid fire questions. Okay, book or a movie?
I feel like my younger version likes books, but now I really like movies. So yeah.
Okay. Sleeping in or getting up and go for a run?
Sleeping in.
Morning person
I
or
miss it.
night owl?
Night owl.
Oh, you are? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Are you a person who prepares for an exam 1 month in advance, or are you a person who prepares for an exam 7 hours in advance?
Like 1 month before.
1 month
Yeah.
before.
I'd panic.
Okay. What's your next dream travel destination?
I really want to go to South America. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I've been to Europe, I've been to, India, but I really want to go to South America. Not a lot of people have gone down there, so
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's your most favorite food?
Rasmalai.
Rasmalai. Okay, okay. I'm gonna get some rasmalai to you when you're
Oh
back.
my God.
Now I think pretty much entire Pittsburgh is going to get rasmalai to your house.
Also special thank you to Ashwini Maushi. She pretty much every time I come home, she is like Srikhanda, like made for
Aw.
me. So
Oh
yeah.
my God. Yeah, he is a sweetheart. Reva, I think I want to say that I'm honored and I'm grateful that I got this opportunity to talk to you. मी आता हे मराठीतही सांगते की मला मला खरंच या सगळ्या आपण आपण दोघी बोलतोय ह्याबद्दल मी देवाचीही आभारी आहे आणि मी तुझीही आभारी आहे की ही संधी आपण साधली. तू आमचा मराठी झेंडा घेऊन एअरफोर्स अकॅडमीमध्ये आहेस, याचा आम्हाला खूप अभिमान वाटतो. आणि हॅट्स ऑफ टू यू. वी आर व्हेरी प्राऊड ऑफ यू and my best wishes to you. And you deserve nothing but the best.
Thank you so much for having me. This interview process it's amazing. So
Oh,
thank you so
no.
much for having it to reach so many people. It's
Yes.
an honor to be here.
Thank you. And I'm hoping that in next 5 years, I'm going to talk to a pilot on the same platform. And yes, fingers crossed. आणि धन्यवाद, तू आमच्या सगळ्यांशी आज बोललीस, मनापासनं आणि एकदम आपलेपणाने उत्तरं दिलीस. आणि I'm honored and I'm grateful that our paths crossed. And I'm hoping that we will talk again very, very soon on something else. And good luck to you. Good luck to you, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
तर मंडळी, रेवा काळभोर बरोबर झालेलं हे पहिलं सत्र तुम्हाला कसं वाटलं, तुम्हाला आवडलं का, हे आम्हाला कळवायला विसरू नका. तुमच्या प्रतिक्रियांची, तुमच्या अभिप्रायाची आम्ही आतुरतेने वाट बघत आहोत. तुम्ही आम्हाला ईमेल करू शकता, फोन करून सांगू शकता किंवा सोशल मीडियावरती कमेंट्स करूनही सांगू शकता. तर मंडळी, पुन्हा लवकरच भेटू अजून एका नव्या व्यक्तीबरोबर जो काही नवं करू बघतोय, नवीन रस्त्यावर चालू पाहतोय. तोपर्यंत धन्यवाद.